Hey guys, hello. So this video is going to be about the modules that I took in the first year. And upon someone's query, I think his name was Jaden, something like that. And also, I think it is something worthy to talk about, just to um, kind of get you perhaps excited or prepared for what's ahead, what's lying ahead of you. First of all, it's very different from A levels. I must say that. Just to close the window. It's very different to A levels in many ways. It's going to be much more intense in the sense that you're going to be given content perhaps 5 times more than what you would have had at A level. I'm assuming, I think so. I don't think that's a huge exaggeration. But it really does depend on you how much of that content you actually want to take, how much of it you want to learn to the utmost core and then to the finest of details. Because there is a massive difference between getting a B and an A. I think someone said something like, with 30% you can get a B, and to get an A you need the extra 70% kind of thing, something like that. But the point is there's quite a big difference between the effort that you need to put in the course to get an A compared to getting a B. And obviously an A star is something very rare. People very rarely get A stars. I think I heard one person perhaps getting an A star on one project once, but there might be more, but that's just all I've heard of. I personally got no A stars, even on things that I thought are absolutely... Anyways, but I didn't get any A stars. But, you get an A and you're like, oh my goodness, they must have really liked it, because even A's are quite rare. So I just want to give that as a heads up, because you're going to be coming from places where you'd be the top student, where you'd be getting A's easily, you'd barely have to put any effort in. Or perhaps you go the extra mile and you get an A. With Imperial, it's very hard to get to the point where you can go the extra mile, because you usually feel like you're 10 miles short. So, because of the intensity of the course, really, and because of all the content that they give to you for you to learn, but there are still people who go that extra mile, and I'm very, and that is the kind of environment you're going to be in. You're going to be in an environment where people are, they're completing the entire marathon, and they're also trying to go extra, I don't know, mile, 2 mile, 3 miles. All right, that's too much of that metaphor right now. But basically, what I'm saying is, you got to have your sprinter pants on. Right, I said that's enough of that metaphor. But yeah, basically, you want to be able to complete. Right, no, okay. So yes, yes. So my point being is, don't worry if you don't learn everything to the utmost finest details, and also don't worry if you don't get an A from everything. That's absolutely fine. That's just the first and most important point that I just wanted to make. Now I'm going to talk about the individual modules. Right, first of all, I'm going to talk about technical modules. I think I'm going to split the modules between technical modules and the more creative, arty, expressive, not arty, but more so designy, let's say, design modules, right? So, in the technical modules, I'll start off with them. We had maths, mechanics, computing, electronics, energy and design, production materials, flipping heck. That was it, I think, about 5. Yeah, so that's quite a lot. So let's start off with maths. So with maths, as far as I remember, there was a lot of emphasis on graphs, on being able to draw graphs, express graphs, and finding kind of intersection points and stuff, working out what a graph would look like just from its formula, from the equation of the graph. We learned about kind of Fourier series, so quite high level maths actually. We learned about, there's also what I found really hard was ODEs and stuff like that. So PDEs, I think it's called PDEs, ODEs, and like spring mass systems, and how it would actually kind of being able to kind of model the spring mass system and the movement of that spring mass system. I mean, I would say it's quite high level for what I want to be doing as a design engineer. Like, I'm quite a creative person. I just want to be able to create new ideas, bring them to life. And I feel like those are the things that perhaps software designers and, software writers and stuff, people who are really, they're going to be making the very core foundations of perhaps software. So I felt like that was the kind of maths that we were learning. And that's why all I want to tell you is, don't worry if you don't understand everything 100%, okay? There are a lot of potentials that you can there's a lot of potential areas that you can go into. And obviously they want you to understand the very core. I mean, this is Imperial, right? These are you are chosen, if you're watching this video, you're probably chosen as to be a world class engineer. not to blow your trumpet or anything, but that's they want you to understand the very core fundamental things of engineering. Even if you can do something, they don't just want you to be able to do it, they want you to understand it from the utmost core. And so that's basically what you are signing up for right now. And so that was for maths, right? And there's also matrices, I remember, so being able to manipulate matrices. Matrix transformations was another part. And what else was it? Matrix vectors, stuff like that. So I think I talked about that. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's there's a few other stuff as well, but you kind of understand the general feeling. I'd say there was a lot that would normally be in further maths as well. So if you did further maths, you really at an advantage. I know that's, I kind of am aware of that. Oh, there's also some kind of statistics that we also learned about, some statistics as well, like certain numbers within statistics and graphs and whatnot. Okay, so that was for maths. The next technical subject I'm going to talk about is mechanics. Mechanics was obviously forces, trusses, and members, and so moments. Moments was another big part of it. And just I think with mechanics, you just need to practice pretty much with anything, but especially with mechanics, you just have to question after question after question to get the kind of little details. It's not like it's really hard to understand and comprehend. It's more so a practice thing, so that you don't forget the little forces that you have to add in and stuff. And we kind of learn about splitting trusses and bodies into different sections, so that you really got to learn how to do that. I never did that in maths. I got away with it somehow back in A level, but you kind of learn how to, you kind of squiggle a line and you separate sections and stuff. Anyway, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but there's a lot basically of emphasis on forces and also modeling forces. Say if you're getting a line of forces, right? Well, how do you do that? Like if there's a whole kind of line of equal force or on a line on a rod, how would you model that? So you use integration and stuff like that. So it's a bit higher level than the mechanics that you would have been learning back in A level. Okay. So that was with regards to mechanics, right. The other module was production materials. Production materials I found was very interesting. It's also a more kind of uncharted territory for myself. When I started to learn, I was like the one that I found most uncomfortable with, because there was nothing like it that I had learnt before. I had no basis for it, and so you have to kind of quickly learn how to navigate. What I did was I just read through literally all the notes, every single page. I read it, I underlined it, I made notes besides it, and basically my strategy with it was just to be able to create as many links in my brain as possible, just as many as possible. So I'm just like reading through it and then just writing things out, blah blah blah. And they also have weekly tutorials where you get to where they give you a load of questions and you basically try and answer those questions, and the answer to the questions are usually in the notes, which is like very, very long. So you have to find kind of the answers and you have to really read it well. So I definitely attend the tutorials where you get lots of GTAs kind of going around trying to answer questions. So again, a huge advantage to do that. So right. And then in the materials section, you learn kind of about the structure of materials. So you've got like crystal structures, different crystal structures. You have kind of, especially when you're changing from one form of material to another form, kind of what happens within the structures. We also learned quite a lot about the structures within polymers. So, well, basically all different types of materials. So we learned the structures in ceramics, metals, polymers, and they really again go to the finest, utmost detail. It's not just like, here you go, here's a material, look at it, feel it, which did exist as well, but we really went to the utmost depths of what materials are like, how they're created, you know, how you can change them from one form to another. There's a lot of graphs and a lot of interpretations of graphs where you're kind of trying to, you know, there's like a lever method or something, stuff like that. Oh, it's been some time since I've learned these. But yeah, and then there's also kind of, yeah, like there's different percentages of materials. By the way, I know this might not be making a lot of sense, but all I want to do is just give you some sort of warm up, just some sort of idea in your head before the year begins. Anyways, that's for the material section of production materials. But then there's also the production section. So the production section actually is a bit more exciting. Kind of you learn about the different production methods. So the die casting, injection blow molding, injection molding. Then you've got you know, different treatments for materials. So in boats, when you've got anodizing, I don't know, all sorts of things in the production side. So you kind of get a rough idea of like, you start looking at objects and you go, wow, okay, that must have been injection molded. And that component might be extrusion molded, whatever. Like you start to kind of think in this different way. Like bottles are created in this way where they inject the